Hello, everybody. This is StellarVision, and the title of this video is, attention, Marvel and Sony. I do not want to buy PS5, and as you can tell, this is going to be a bit of a negative video on that. Um, and let me get into it. Over the past few years, there have been, a few new Spider-Man games coming out, ones that I personally would very much like to play and experience because they look friggin' amazing. But unfortunately, they just so happen to be PlayStation exclusives. And I assumed when they first started coming out that this might have been just because Spider-Man distribution and film rights are sitting with Sony right now. I'm no expert on all this legal mumbo jumbo. I do follow Marvel news a lot, but when we get into like the whole who has what rights, it gets a little confusing. Um, and it kind of made sense because Sony was primarily making the movies, so of course Sony would want to keep Spider-Man in house. And well, in the past, this hasn't stopped Spider-Man from coming to other consoles. I recently played Web of Shadows, and I'm playing Ultimate Spider-Man now, and those are both on PC and other consoles. But I figured, since the movies are much more successful now, then that might have empowered Sony to, do such a thing, like keeping it on the PlayStation. And getting to today, we've recently had Spider-Man 2 announced for the PS5. And another game that I'm kind of shocked is going to be a PS5 exclusive, Wolverine. Fucking Wolverine is going to be PS5 exclusive, which, we definitely know Sony does not have any, sort of kind of claim to. As far as the rights, it just so happens that the game is being made by Insomniac, so of course it's going to be PS5 exclusive because Insomniac is owned by PlayStation, well, Sony, I mean. uh, but I do very much want to play this Wolverine game, and I was hoping originally with the Avengers game, like if that was successful, it would help bring Spidey to PC. Uh, but the game ended up bombing, and I hope the Guardians of the Galaxy games ends up being good, which it looks promising. It's not being done by the same developer as the Avengers, so there's hope. And the Midnight Suns game coming out next year looks pretty good. Well, hopefully it'll be good, and it's coming to PC. But now, there are at least 4 Marvel games that are going to be PS5 exclusive that I want to play. And of course, I'm counting the first Spider-Man game, which was on the PS4, but they've done the remake on PS5. And this leaves me in an impasse because like I said, I don't want a PS5, and there's a few reasons for that. For one, I built my own gaming PC so I could, exit the console wars and, not have to buy a new appliance to play games every few years. I just have to upgrade my PC, which does seem to be getting more and more pricey, but I do believe it still ends up being a little more cost effective in the long run, unless you're just always going for the most expensive thing. And if you can afford that, that's great. But most people go for the mid tier, which is, more like affordable than like buying a console as soon as they come out, especially if you want multiple consoles. Uh, and the PS5 is an expense, that I'm, dreading having to make because I was already hoping to save up for the 3080 graphics card, which I would benefit from more, well, much more than buying a PS5. As 3080 is pretty expensive, but there is financing and credit for that, hopefully. And another reason is the PS5's pretty big, and I would hope that they do a slim version at some point. I would be more inclined to buy that than the current versions, which I don't know. I'm probably gonna end up having to buy one eventually, anyway. And I do feel like the design is a bit wacky and ugly on the PS5. And people have told me, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But if I, got one, when and if I get one, I'd probably try to figure out how to hide it so I don't have to look at it every day. And in closing, I kind of hinted this already, I probably will eventually buy a PS5. Only because I really want to play these Spider-Man games. And they seemingly aren't coming to PC or anytime soon. And like, I don't know. It's just this forced, it's like forced scarcity. And exclusivity tactics. I feel they're kind of a bane that the capitalist mindset has brought upon the gaming community. And hopefully one day we can force the video game and console developers to cast aside this, I feel, pretty harmful practice in the gaming community. That the idea is that if you let's say you make a popular game a PS5 exclusive, you then are coercing people to buy a PS5 to play said game. But you're ultimately excluding a massive audience from experiencing this work of art and enjoying the game, leaving big Marvel fans like myself really frustrated because we had to sit on the sidelines, and if I want to experience this, I have to buy this new brick that will eventually break or be cast aside by Sony eventually when they make the PS6. And I have to buy it to buy a game that I feel should be available on all platforms. And again, to sum it up, their goal here at the end of the day is not to make sure you have a good quality video game. The goal is to increase their console sales. And ending capitalism for a more socialized economy would be very good for gamers in the gaming industry, because we would no longer have developers employing coercive tactics to force people to buy their consoles, and instead they would have to work harder to make sure that they have the best console, so people would actually want to buy it without having to tie in exclusive games to it or coerce you in other ways too. So I don't know, I think that's about it. Spider-Man, would you like your games to be on all platforms? Yes, I would. With great power comes great responsibility. Well, there you have it. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. And if you would like to interact with me, I stream live on Twitch just about every night. So you can hit me up over there. And yeah, I've said my piece on that, I think.